Let me ask you a question. What if your life could change in 7 days? What if, instead of drifting through your days, reacting to everything life throws at you, you took control? Just by adopting 7 small, daily habits. Listen closely, because I'm about to share the simple, not easy truth. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day, and failure, just a few errors in judgment repeated daily. The difference, my friends, is habit. Success is not the result of one grand event or a single moment of brilliance. It's the quiet accumulation of small, consistent actions taken day after day. The truth is, most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year, if only they stuck to the right habits. Your life today is the result of the habits you practiced yesterday, last month, last year. If you want to change your life, you must first change your habits. The core idea is simple. Disciplines repeated daily lead to long-term transformation, while small errors in judgment, repeated over time, lead to decline. This principle works both ways. It's either working for you or against you. Every day, you are either investing in your future or letting it slip away, inch by inch, through inaction or negative routines. That's why these habits matter so much. They are not flashy or complex, and they don't promise overnight success. But practiced consistently, they become the foundation of character, confidence, and achievement. Just as a single drop of water doesn't seem like much, a single positive habit might feel insignificant, but repeated over time, that drop carves rock. It changes landscapes. The real power of habit is that it removes the need for constant motivation. When a behavior becomes automatic, it no longer requires willpower or daily decision making, and that's where change truly begins, not in sudden leaps, but in quiet daily victories. When you start aligning your actions with the person you want to become, you create momentum. You shift your direction, and that shift over time transforms everything. Change doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. That's the secret. That's the difference. How you start your day sets the rhythm for everything that follows. If you begin rushed, distracted, or without purpose, the rest of your day tends to reflect that same energy. But when you take a few moments in the morning to ground yourself and direct your focus, you gain control over your mindset and your time. Most people wake up and immediately check their phones, diving into emails, social media, or the news. What they don't realize is that they're starting the day in reaction mode, letting the world dictate their mood, their thoughts, and ultimately their results. A better way is to start your day with intention. That doesn't require hours. It can be as simple as taking 5 minutes in silence, breathing deeply, and asking yourself, what matters most today? What's one thing I can do that will move me forward? That short pause creates clarity. It shifts your mind from distraction to direction. It reconnects you with your goals, your values, and your purpose. When you begin the day with that level of focus, you become proactive instead of reactive. You start to lead your day rather than chase it. Over time, this small morning practice builds internal strength. It trains you to prioritize the important over the urgent, to live by design rather than by default. People often search for motivation, but motivation follows clarity. When you know why you're doing something and what it's leading toward, you don't need constant pep talks. You simply move with purpose. And the earlier you establish that mindset in the day, the more momentum you build. Life doesn't change by accident. It changes when you take responsibility for how you begin each day. The first decision of your morning often becomes the foundation of your future. The mind and body are deeply connected, and how you treat one directly affects the other. If your body lacks energy, strength, or movement, your mind will often follow suit. Sluggish, foggy, or unmotivated. That's why making time each day to care for both is not a luxury, it's a necessity. You don't need to overhaul your life to see results. Just a few minutes of movement and a few pages of quality reading each day can completely shift your mental and physical state over time. When you move your body, you change your state. Physical activity, Even something as simple as a brisk walk can lift your mood, sharpen your focus, and reduce stress. It doesn't take long to feel the difference. Movement wakes up your nervous system and sends a message to your brain that it's time to engage, to be alert, to show up fully. That kind of energy can't be faked or bought. It's generated by action. The same goes for feeding your mind. Reading just 10 pages of a good book a day may not sound like much, but it adds up. In a year, that's several books full of ideas, strategies, and wisdom. Those ideas shape how you think, how you speak, and how you make decisions. They open doors that were previously invisible. Instead of being stuck in the same mindset day after day, you begin to see new possibilities. Your thoughts evolve, and with them, your actions follow. When you prioritize movement and learning every day, you become sharper, stronger, and more centered. You show up differently for your work, for your relationships, and for yourself. These small habits compound. They create a personal foundation that supports everything else you want to achieve in life. Your mindset is one of your greatest tools, and the way you shape it each day determines how you experience life. Practicing gratitude and speaking positively to yourself are two of the most powerful habits you can build. They may seem small, even insignificant at first, but over time, they change how you see yourself, your challenges, and the world around you. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already present. Most people go through their days noticing what they lack: more money, more time, more recognition. This creates a mindset of scarcity and dissatisfaction. But when you pause, even for just 2 minutes, and write down a few things you're grateful for, you train your brain to notice the good. It might be something big, like a loved one's support, or something small, like the warmth of your morning coffee. Either way, that moment of recognition rewires your thinking. It brings calm. It brings perspective, and it invites more of the good into your life. The words you speak to yourself matter just as much. Many people are trapped in a cycle of negative self-talk without even realizing it. They say things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess things up." Those thoughts, repeated day after day, become beliefs, and those beliefs shape behavior. But if you catch those patterns and start replacing them with empowering words, you begin to build a new identity. Tell yourself, "I'm learning," "I'm growing," or "I've overcome before, I can do it again." That inner voice becomes your greatest ally instead of your harshest critic. These practices won't change everything overnight, but they will shift your foundation. And with a stronger foundation, you'll be able to build a better life. One thought, one word, and one grateful moment at a time. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you do the things you'd rather avoid. The hard, uncomfortable, often inconvenient tasks that stretch you. Every day presents a choice: to take the easy route or to lean into discomfort and do what needs to be done. Most people wait until they feel ready, motivated, or inspired to take action. But those who succeed understand that waiting is a trap. They act in spite of how they feel. They do the hard thing first. It doesn't have to be something monumental. It might be making that difficult phone call, having an honest conversation, starting that workout, or sitting down to work on a long, overdue goal. These are the moments that test you. They're not glamorous, and no one will applaud you for doing them. But deep down, you know when you've avoided them. And you also know the feeling of power that comes from doing them anyway. Discipline is built through repetition. Every time you choose to tackle something hard instead of avoiding it, you train your mind to become stronger than your emotions. You stop negotiating with excuses and start showing up with purpose. Over time, this habit becomes part of your identity. You stop saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," and start living like someone who follows through. And that's where real confidence comes from, not from praise or results, but from knowing you can trust yourself to do what's necessary. When you get into the habit of doing one hard thing every day, you begin to expand what's possible for you. You build resilience, grit, and momentum. Eventually, what once felt difficult becomes your new standard. And that's how transformation happens, not in giant leaps, but in the quiet moments when you choose courage over comfort. Taking time at the end of each day to reflect is one of the most overlooked but powerful habits you can develop. In a world that's constantly rushing forward, people rarely pause to examine where they've been. But reflection is where growth begins. When you look back on your day with intention, you start to see patterns, what's working, what's not, and where small adjustments could make a big difference. It's not about judging yourself harshly or picking apart every mistake. It's about becoming aware, learning, and improving. Just 5 minutes of reflection can shift your trajectory. Ask yourself simple questions. What went well today? What did I avoid? What can I do better tomorrow? These moments of honest self-assessment create clarity. They help you understand your own behavior, reactions, and habits. Most importantly, they allow you to make conscious choices moving forward, instead of living on autopilot. Without reflection, it's easy to repeat the same mistakes day after day, wondering why things aren't changing. But when you take time to evaluate your actions, even briefly, you start taking ownership of your results. You stop blaming circumstances and start identifying the role you played in shaping your day. That shift in mindset is powerful. It moves you from victim to leader, from passive observer to active participant in your own life. Reflection also builds gratitude. You notice small wins you may have otherwise missed. You begin to appreciate progress, even if it's imperfect. Over time, this habit compounds. It keeps you grounded in the present while guiding you toward a better future. The truth is, success doesn't just come from doing more. Sometimes it comes from thinking more deeply about what you're already doing. When you end each day with awareness, you begin the next one with intention. And that cycle creates real change.